Good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to another video with me, Stevie, here on Stevie Rides. And today I'm going to head on down to the bike school and we're going to take a look at all of the riding exercises that you'll find when you're doing your CBT. What I'll do is I'll take you through each of the exercises, explain what's required to complete the exercise, give a demonstration, and I'll also talk a bit about what we're looking for as instructors while you're going through the exercise itself. So without any more delay, let's get into it, shall we? So the first riding exercise we're going to do is setting away and then coming to a stop. So we're going to set off in a straight line and come to a gentle stop. Nice and steady, nice and smooth. To do that, you're going to pull your clutch all the way in, and then on the gear lever down here on the left hand side, you're going to push it into first gear. So for this bike it's down for first gear. Most bikes tend to be down for first gear. I'm going to return my foot on the right hand side back to the footrest, so that if I need to stop, I can push on that rear brake. So to stop the bike, most importantly, clutch comes in, brakes come on, so rear brake for slow speeds. To set away then, all I need to do is give the bike a little bit of power on the throttle and then feed that clutch out. You can see the bike starts to move, starts to bite. I'm not going to let the clutch all the way out at first, I'm just going to ease it out, and there we go. And then to stop, gas off, clutch in, rear brake on, nice smooth stop. Just turn my bike around so I'm facing the other direction. Run out of space in here very quickly. So same again, first gear I'm ready to set away, little bit of gas, feed the clutch out to the bite point, it starts to move away, keep feeding it out gently until it's all the way out. There we go, simple as that. Coming to a stop, gas off, clutch in, rear brake on. So that is setting away and stopping. That's your first exercise on your CBT. Okay, next exercise then, riding slowly under control. I've done a video on this already. Slow speed control and U-turns was the video that I did, where I went into quite a lot of detail about your clutch control, etc. The trick to this then is to keep that clutch slipping, a little bit of gas, and control the speed using the rear brake only. Instead of shutting the gas off or pulling the clutch in, because if you shut the gas off and pull the clutch in, the bike's got no drive, it will want to fall over. So we control the speed on the rear brake alone. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but what we're looking for is a nice smooth, consistent ride. So you're not jerking around on the throttle, you're not on and off the clutch or on and off the gas all the time. Because if your clutch is too far out and you're on and off the gas, the bike will jerk about a lot. If you push the clutch in and out, in and out, in and out, the bike will also jerk around a lot. So again, we're looking for that smooth, consistent ride. So simple as it sounds, feed the clutch out to the bite point, a little bit of gas, hang on to that clutch and get that clutch slipping. Now to control that speed, rear brake on, and that's all there is to it. So nice and steady away. We're looking for walking pace, which is around about 5 miles an hour. Which my speedo says it's doing now, and I'll see how good this GPS calibration is on this camera later on for speed. But yeah, about 5 miles an hour walking pace. You can see I'm slipping the clutch, steady on the gas, and using that rear brake to control the speed. If I do feel the need to speed up, I just release that rear brake and the bike naturally picks up speed, reapply the rear brake, and it slows right back down again. Again, core skill this. You're going to find that you're going to need this skill for quite a lot of your CBT, and if you're progressing on to do your full bike test, your mod 1 as well. A lot of the mod 1 relies on this skill. So there you go, slipping the clutch, steady on the brake, steady on the throttle. It's as easy as that. Okay, so once we've mastered the slow speed control, we'll start to look at the figure of 8. The figure of 8 exercise involves 2 cones on the training ground, and all you've got to do is ride in a figure of 8 around both of those cones. There's a couple of things that are going to help you to do this. The first is to maintain that slow control. Now we're going to start turning the bars now, so there's a habit for people to lurch on the clutch a little bit or even on the throttle. Don't worry too much about the revs picking up a little bit if they do. More the clutch control that you need to keep an eye on. Okay. Other things that will help you with this exercise then is looking where you're going. When I look where I go, my arms will naturally take me in that direction. It's slightly exaggerated, that movement there, but when I turn my head, my arms naturally move. So I'm going to look where I want to go. I'm not going to ride too close to the cones. I'm going to aim to come around them in a nice consistent circle, and I'm going to aim to come straight through the centre as well. Now, technically speaking, there's no width limit for this exercise, but we do want to make sure that you're maintaining a degree of control. So without any further delay, let's have a little look at that. So again, first gear, I'm going to get away, slow control comes into play. I'm going to loop around this cone, through the centre point, and again just looking at my reference point, which is the cone at the moment, then into the centre. You can see my head constantly turning and looking where I want the bike to be and where I want to go. So I'm trying to keep it within the width of the road at the moment, and if we can get it to within the width of the road, that helps a lot for the next exercise, which is the U-turn. So there we have it, that's the figure of 8. The next exercise we're going to look at then is the U-turn, and again I've done a more in-depth video on this, so it's a quick overview of the U-turn. Now the objective here is to turn within the width of the road. It's marked out on the training ground here for us, 2 solid white lines, and this is something that you should do on your road ride as well. Your instructor should take you to a set point so you can do it on a proper highway. Things that we're going to be looking here then are observations. We want to make sure that the road's clear. So let's check for pedestrians, hand off and put it on the back of the seat and look behind to make sure it's clear behind, and obviously make sure there's no oncoming traffic as well. Once we've done that, we're going to set ourselves away into the slow control and then start to turn. Things that will assist you with this exercise, once again, turning your head, looking where you want the bike to be. Don't focus on the lines themselves, focus on where you want the bike to go. Use the full width for the road and be strict with that slow control technique. So let's put all that together then and have a look. So check around ourselves, make sure it's nice and clear, which it is. Set ourselves away, get rolling, and then we're into the turn. Draw parallel with the curb and come to a nice gentle stop. Okay. So once we've established that we've got the control sorted on the U-turn, we're then going to start to look at how we change gear and make progress on the bike, moving up through the gearbox, obviously matching the gear to the speed that you're riding at. Changing gear is relatively simple, and we've already changed gear, to be honest with you, because we've gone from neutral to first and first to neutral. So all we need to do now is progress that up into second gear. So as we ride along, we move away from the slow control and we get the clutch all the way out, and we start to make progress in first gear. First gear is going to be a very short gear. And when we get to the end of first gear, all we're going to do to transition into second is pull the clutch in and shut the gas off at the same time, with our foot underneath the gear shifter, clicking up past neutral into second gear. And we feed the clutch all the way back out and then reapply the power. Now it's important that we don't dump the clutch, because if we start getting into the habit of smashing the clutch out, it's going to damage the bike. It's not very sympathetic mechanically, so you want to feed the clutch out. It is a slightly quicker feed out than it is when you're setting away, and you shouldn't really dump the clutch. So we're going to take a little look at that. And for this exercise, I'm going to ride around my training ground once again. And I'm going to do first gear, slow control on the short widths. And I'm going to go to second gear on the lengths and then back down to first, just to get me used to going up and down that gearbox. It's important to remember when we go back down to first, not to feed that clutch all the way out. We want to go back to that slipping clutch. So if we let it all the way out from a faster speed, it can bite a little bit. Can throw you forward as well. So we just want to be nice and smooth, and that's what we're looking for as instructors. We're looking for those smooth transitions. So first gear to set away, off we go. I'm just going to leave it for slow control for the time being, and then once I've come around this corner, I'm going to come off the brake and feed the clutch out and move up into second, and then back down to first before I turn. So quite a short transition there. Slow control riding again. Okay, off the brake, feed the clutch out on the power, up into second, and slowing it back down again. Back to first, slow control riding. Round the corner, off the brakes, clutches away, on the gas off, clutch in, shift up, clutch out, slowing it back down again. So a little bit difficult in here. I might talk about gear changing a little bit more in depth out on the road later on. That's the basic principle to it. It's nice and steady away. Again, as instructors, we'll be looking for those smooth transitions, making sure that you've got full control over the machine, that everything you're doing is spot on. Right, let's look at stopping under control then. So we've started to make progress now. We're going up through the gearbox, and obviously with that comes an increased speed. So I now need to be able to use my brakes effectively under control. And there's various times where we're going to have to come to a complete stop. Red traffic lights, for example. So what I need to do is be able to plan ahead and look at when I need to start going through this technique. The first thing that I need to do to start slowing this motorcycle down is shut the gas. As soon as I shut the gas, the engine braking will take over, and that will start to slow the bike down naturally. From there, I can start to apply the front brake. Now, the front brake is the most powerful and effective brake on a motorcycle, so that's going to start slowing you down quite rapidly. To balance the bike out, I'm going to use a little bit of rear brake at the same time, so I'm dual braking. So gas off, bit of front brake, bit of back brake. And then as the bike comes to a point where it's about to stop, around about 4 feet before I stop, I'm going to want to make sure that the bike is in first gear. So I'm going to pull my clutch in, pop it all the way down to first gear, and then stop. And that way I don't have to worry about changing gears once I have stopped. So let's take a look at that in practice and ride it through, shall we? So first gear, I set myself away. I'm going to move the bike into second gear for this exercise. Okay, coming to a stop on this stop line then, gas off, front brake, back brake, first gear, stop. So once we've mastered our controlled stops, we're now going to look at the emergency stop. The emergency stop is exactly as it sounds. It's for something that's gone wrong on the road. Someone's jumped out in front of you, or a car's pulled out in front of you, whatever it might be, and you need to react and stop the bike relatively quickly. The technique doesn't change too much. The first thing that we need to do is get off that gas. So we shut the gas and we get onto the front brake. And this time what we're going to do is apply, build and draw on that front brake. You're going to start squeezing that front brake in, and it's going to start slowing the bike down quite quickly. Now that will make the front end dip down a little bit, and you're going to be slowing down fairly rapidly. I am still going to use a little bit of back brake just because 2 brakes are better than 1. So a little bit of rear brake at the same time. As the bike is about to stop this time, I'm not going to worry about changing gear. I haven't got time to focus on that. So if I get the clutch in time, brilliant. that's great. But if I stall the bike on an emergency stop, it's not a problem. The reason it's not a problem is because this is an emergency and I've used that engine braking right till that very last second. So if I do stall the bike, all I need to do is pull my clutch in and I can push it to get to the side of the road, or maybe even restart the bike. But the important thing is the stop here. Things to remember with the emergency stop then: don't snatch at your brakes. If you grab a massive handful of that brake straight off, your likelihood is you're going to lock up a wheel. Now on this bike I've got ABS, but I shouldn't even trigger the ABS when doing an emergency stop. Again, this exercise is one that you will find on your Mod 1 test as well. There is a set speed limit for your Mod 1 test, so bear that in mind if you're looking to progress. But for CBT, we're looking for a safe and efficient stop. Once that bike is stopped then, my immediate danger now comes from behind. So what I'm going to do once I've got my bike stopped is do a couple of mirror checks, maybe even a shoulder check, just to see what's going on around me, assess the danger, and then get myself to a place of safety. So let's put all that together and have a little look at the emergency stop, shall we? Setting off in first gear, I move the bike into second gear, and again I ride around the top. Now normally your instructor will be at the other end of the training ground and they'll raise their hand when they want you to come to a stop. I've not got that luxury today, so I'm just going to go through the motions. So it's gas off, front brake squeeze, back brake as well, and then clutching at the very last second. A couple of mirror checks just to make sure I know what's going on around me. Let's say I've stopped the bike there in second gear. You can hear my brakes squealing a bit. It's been a little while since I did an emergency stop on this bike. Let's have another look at that then. So second gear this time, I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Around the top here. There we go. Just gas off, front squeeze, back, clutch, stop, check, check. All of that in one motion. And that's it, that's the emergency stop. So let's have a look at junctions now then. We're going to look at how we turn from minor roads into major roads. That's where we've got the junction to negotiate. It could be a giveaway or a stop. And we've also got major roads into minor roads. So two types of junction, the giveaway and the stop. The giveaway, I can check for traffic and make sure it's clear, and if it is clear I can continue to make progress out of that junction without the requirement to stop. A stop junction, solid white line, big sign that says stop, and it will say stop on the floor in front of it as well, so there's plenty of clues there. The law requires you to stop at those junctions, and to stop, that means wheel stop turning, foot hits the deck, and then we look for traffic. Okay, so to negotiate this giveaway junction at the top here, I'm going to look at turning left. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look to my left, and I'm going to do that a decent distance before the junction, because what I intend to do is move across to the left hand side. So I'm looking to make sure it's clear there, and that's a chin to shoulder look because I don't trust my mirrors. I've got massive blind spots in them and I can't see what's immediately to my left in my peripheral vision. So shoulder check, make sure there's not a cyclist or someone else there. Then I put my signal on. Okay, turn your signal on with your thumb, slide it in the direction that you intend to turn, and it'll put your indicators on. Once I've done that, I'm going to move across to the left-hand side. The reason that I do that is, one, it makes the junction easier to negotiate, and two, it can assist with the progress of others. It's also really obvious then that I am turning left. I haven't just left my indicator on. So, observation, signal comes on, move across. Now I'm going to start to adjust my speed. I'm going to start to slow the bike down in order to negotiate the junction, and I'm going to look for traffic. Now, it might well be that I take the bike all the way back to slow control for the junction, because I don't have to stop at a giveaway. So if I slow down in good time and I get a good gap, I can time it. Or I might have to stop. Depends on how the traffic is flowing when you get to the junction. Okay, so let's have a good look at that. Put it all together. A basic left turn at a giveaway junction. Minor road to major road. So we set ourselves away. First thing I'm going to do, observation, signal, move my bike across. Now I'm slowing down my speed and I'm looking at the road to give way. If it's clear, I look in the direction I'm travelling and I ease the bike out onto the road. Now I've got a wall in front of me there. But once I'm onto the new road, I start to make that progress again and I push my indicator button in to turn it off. Okay. So one more time through. riding down the road, I'm going to turn left, observation left, signal left, move left, slow my bike down. Oh, this time there's some traffic, so I'm going to stop. I'll wait for the traffic to clear, again look in the direction of travel, it's your last lifesaver, and away we go. So there you go, that's giveaway junctions. This next junction then is a stop junction, and I'm going to turn right this time. Now, when you're turning right, you have 2 lanes of traffic on the road that you're going onto to be conscious of. And you should always be conscious of the flow of traffic anyway. You should always look in both directions. You should never take it for granted because there could be someone overtaking on a junction. Stop junction, I've got to stop. So the difference on my setup this time is I'm not going to look for traffic on the approach. I am just going to ride to the line, set myself up into position with my signals on and stop. Once I've stopped, then I'm going to look for traffic, okay? It's a requirement to stop at a stop junction. So many people out there that don't do it. Stop junctions can be incredibly dangerous, restricted views, and all sorts of things can go wrong there. So just take that little bit of extra time at a stop junction. So let's look at how I'm going to approach this one then. So turning right this time, set ourselves away. Observation right, signal right, and I'm going to move across to the right hand position. I'm not going to have my bars on the other side of the carriageway though, and then I just come to a controlled stop at the end. Once I've stopped, I'll look for traffic, make sure it's clear. I'm going to do a lifesaver check, chin to shoulder to the right, and that's just in case there's anyone overtaking on the junction, and I have seen that. I've seen people come down the wrong side of the carriageway and turn left. So once I'm satisfied the road's clear, I can ease myself out, and away we go. Again, I'll cover junctions in more detail out on the road because it will be more obvious when I'm riding continually, and it will make more sense to you so you can see how it's done. So as I ride home, I'll go through junctions in a little bit more detail. And the first junction I need to take is major road to minor road, and it's a right turn just here. So shoulder check right, signal right, move it to the right hand side. Now I've got to give way to oncoming traffic, so I'm just going to slow my speed down, slow speed control. Before I turn, put that lifesaver in, and as always, turn to your side of the road. I like to turn nice and dead centered, unless there's any other reason not to. With the speed bumps, just check to my right or my left and move around them. So if you are moving in the road away from your natural path, it is important to do a shoulder check. You never know what might be around you, especially these days with electric bikes, electric motorcycles, etc. There's a lot of hazards on the road to be aware of, and a mirror isn't sufficient. You cannot see what's in these blind spots. So the next junction that I've got to negotiate is this roundabout up ahead. It's a 4-exit roundabout, standard crossroads type. And again, I'm going straight ahead, so I'm just going to slow myself down, take my time, making sure it's nice and clear to my right and nothing oncoming. And away we go. So I say nothing oncoming that's turning right or signalling to turn right. My next junction is traffic light controlled, so it's a little bit easier going for me. I'm going to turn to the right at these traffic lights. So observation goes to the right, signal goes to the right. This time I remain centre of my lane because it's a traffic light. I just come up for a controlled stop at the red light. Again, major road to my left and right, and there is another road up ahead as well. So I will have to give way to traffic up ahead. The BMW is indicating to turn left, so they'll turn left in front of me. And I'm turning onto a multiple lane carriageway as well. And I'm going to go into the left-hand lane because then I'm going to turn to the left. So lights go green, observations, and I set myself away. That gives plenty of time for the car. Still do a lifesaver check and bring it on round. Cancel that indicator. left indicator, left check. Off we go. Bit more of a slip road that one. Again, cancel my indicator. Update my mirrors, now I'm on a new road.